being told that Dr. Paul Alaje has joined the Zoom link so that we can have our discussion. So, a very good day to you, Paul, Dr. Paul, sir. Okay, I will still expecting a better connection with him. All right, Doc, are you there? Right, we're still having some freeze network there, but hopefully he will join us smoothly so that we can have our discussion on Nigerian macroeconomic environment. As I earlier pointed out in the intro, these are dissective aspects of Nigerian economy, particularly when you look at the ranging inflation, if you look at the unemployment, bracket rate, as well as the inflation rate that is, affecting Nigerian economy right now. So, a very good day to you, Doc.
Sir, thank you so much for having me.
All right, so let's get straight to the discussion. First and foremost, Doc, what do you make of President Tinubu, Brazil trip, signing a 5-year deal in aviation, oil and gas, as well as agriculture? What do you make of that trip, and what gains are we expecting from such, outing by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Well, first of all, I must say that it's important for leaders of countries to see how pertinent it is for nations to come invest in their country. You saw our foreign reserve from about 30 billion plus to now about $41 billion, which is good. So if we have more people coming to invest in critical sector beyond portfolio investments, coming to aviation, which is very critical, I must say, to other major sector, I think is a good one. And you notice that the president have initially been to Germany. He was in the UAE. We saw how Nigeria and the UAE governments were able to resolve their differences regarding visa issue and Emirates airline not being able to fly into Nigeria as a result of backlog of payments. Today, that issue has since been put behind them. So I must say that trips like this are very important, are very critical. I don't think they should be too often. I don't think such trips should be too often because it also comes at a cost. But I think that when necessary, Nigeria and in fact, countries that need investment the most must reach out to the rest of the world to see opportunities that is available to them in their countries and why they should invest today.
Exactly. Now, talking about one of the gains of this outing by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a lot of energy economists and mainstream economic have been appraising the planned return of Petrobras. But what do you make of the return of Petrobras into Nigerian energy market?
Well, I think it's important to have the return of that. We recall that Nigeria has beyond just Petrobras and in our covers. But you see, the more the merrier. The more sources you have in the country that can help us boost. For me, the most important thing here, which is not the only important thing, will that translate to more jobs locally? The answer is yes. Will that translate to more FDI in Nigeria? The answer is yes. Will it translate to improvement in our foreign reserve? The answer is yes. So anything that will boost those macroeconomic variables, honestly, I will always be for it.
Exactly. Now, let's talking about the macroeconomic variables. In the last 8 months, a lot of news about what is happening to the inflation, what is happening to MPC rate, and what is happening to unemployment has been there. But from your own assessment, what is your take on the Nigerian macroeconomic environment in the last 8 months?
It is difficult for you to determine what is happening to inflation because you are comparing 2 different periods. The base year changed. 2, the things that form the basket of commodity has changed. It has been expanded. 3, you have also now had adjustments into those commodities. Before now, when we talk food inflation, restaurant is involved. Now, restaurant have been moved out of food inflation. So it will be wrong for you to be comparing a man that is completely blind to a man that is completely deaf. The parameters have changed. In economics and those that have read statistics, they will tell you we are currently going through outlier period. Whether inflation is increasing or decreasing on year-on-year basis, we really cannot tell. But what we know is that on month-on-month basis, we can compare because the parameter for last month and month before, they are the same. So when you compare month on month, you have certain results that we can depend on. My concern is just the future. Researchers may forget that there were outliers. You just see a major drop, 10% drop in inflation from 34% to 24%. Many may not ask, and we use that to now forecast what inflation will be in future. Honestly, whether you use eViews or you use Tara or you use Excel, your report will be wrong. Why? Because of that adjustment that happened. At the end of the day, it's not just the matters that matters. It's just not the number that matters. What matters is the impact. So for me, I will rest the point on that regarding inflation. Regarding unemployment, it's also there that we have adjusted parameter. So unemployment for 33%, we reported 5%. Where on earth do you see that? So, but that does not mean that those that adjusted parameter, this, according to Bureau of Statistics, it was advised that those who are working 1 hour a week is a good parameter to measure, because according to them, that is what some part of the world are using. My concern is that they are using it doesn't reflect the situation we are going through in our country. But even on 1 hour per week, you are not supposed to have more than 2% unemployment rate. For inflation, we're expected to have between 6 to 9% in Nigeria, which is the target of central bank. But in the real sense, globally, what we should be looking at is 2 to 3%. So when you hear that UK said unemployment has jumped to all-time high of 4%, you'll be wondering, is it the same unemployment Nigeria is experiencing they are talking about? The answer is no. The unemployment in Nigeria before now was 33%, which is 20 hours a week. But they are using 1 hour a week because the economic structure for the two countries are completely different. But I can tell you that we have seen stability in exchange rate, relative stability from 1,500 to 1,600. We can take that as relative stability. When you're looking at month on month, you can also say that inflation has started to recede from very high inflation to moderately lower inflation. We can also give it to that. When you talk about growth, honestly, we need to know that to grow, it will be very difficult to quickly say that the economy has grown or the economy has tanked or the economy has depreciated. The reason is because we rebase the economy, which is supposed to be a good news. But after rebasing, what we have was around 250, less than $300 billion. And that means that perhaps before devaluing next time, we may need to look a bit more broadly so that all aspects of the economy are considered and all parameters are also considered. Exactly. Although I do not completely agree with the Bureau of Statistics after rebasing that our economy should be around 250 plus billion. I think we should have more than that. And I think Bureau of Statistics may need to review that, even though they may say they need to wait for another 5 years. Exactly. But I strongly believe that Nigerian economy today, even based on what is captured, should not be less than $500 billion.
Exactly.
I'm willing to support at no pay, at no fee.
Exactly.
Our organization can support Bureau of Statistics, but we clearly believe that Nigeria's economy is bigger than that. And you ask me why, I will tell you.
I'm coming to that, Doctor. I'm coming to that. You will link the next question with your response on that. Economy bigger than that. We have talked about infrastructural deficit. That's one of the issues in our microeconomy. But link this question to what you're about to say before I come in with this question that I just asked you.
Clearly speaking, macroeconomic, infrastructure is one of the major deficits we have. But when you see what is happening in Abuja, Minister Wike seems to be infrastructure friendly, and I'm not surprised. When Wike was in Rivers, I was in Rivers to cover some of the projects he did as a private person, as researcher. And I can tell you that Wike and Amechi were two governors that did perhaps most of the road, to my mind, based on what I covered. Most of the road, and for bridges, I will give that to Wike in terms of bridges. Amechi did a lot of road also in Rivers. Even the governor they had also did some road. But you see, the Wike bridges, nobody has been able to meet up. The question many people have asked is that, do they really need bridges in those places? Honestly, I'll be sincere with you. Yes. From Rumola, would you say you don't need a bridge around what do they call that area now? Around Location Junction. You certainly need a bridge. Or close to Choba, or around GRA. where you have a major financial institution, I can tell you that for most of the places, 70 to 80% of the places, bridges are needed. In Abuja, when people say the roads are not needed, clearly speaking, the roads are needed. Infrastructure is important. And that's why I've called on about 20-something governors that are not doing they are not committing a lot to infrastructure in their state. So please, for the sake of country, for the sake of our GDP, for the sake of growth of our nation, it is not just because of their state or people that live in their state or those that are working in the state. At the end of the day, when GDP is measured, all of these things will come together and they will have direct impact on our gross domestic product. So it's important. Now, when you look at country I wanted to mention before now, which is Poland. Poland is getting closer to $1 trillion economy. Nigeria is eyeing $1 trillion economy in about 8 years. But when you look at economic activity in Poland, the population of Poland, and so on and so forth, the only area I can say Poland has massively surpassed Nigeria is infrastructure. But when you look at the pockets of assets you see in Nigeria, from real estate to telecoms and so on and so forth, yes, Nigeria might not be as high as Poland in some regard, but when you aggregate these numbers, I can confidently tell you Nigeria can never be less than $500 billion. Let's put the statistics together. So that's my point. I think Nigeria's economy is highly undersized, and it's not just because of the basing. I've maintained this point since the time of Buhari administration. Nigeria is highly undervalued, highly undersized, and so on and so forth. But the temptation is this: if we improve our GDP numbers, politicians may see as opportunity to borrow more money. So it is not the GDP numbers that matters, so that politicians do not borrow money. That is, now we are in between the devil and the deep blue sea. Which one do we embrace? The devil or the deep blue sea where you be missing? It's a difficult decision. So we need to be very careful. So that we can take a much more viable option.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Doctor, before I let you go, their MPC meeting is coming on shortly. Now, I've heard a lot of your projection analysis around MPC meeting for September. But what is your view? Is it retaining or going the other way around? What's your take on the coming MPC meeting?
The best option is to retain. Why? I just told you that inflation is going through an outlier period. You are comparing uncomparable base year. You are comparing until first quarter or towards the end of first quarter next year. It will be wrong for us to adjust NPR, whether to increase or to decrease. So generally people are complaining the economy is tough. I don't know if you watch NBA response to my friend and brother Shehu when he asked them if Nigeria is better off today or worse off. You saw what generality of lawyers echoed. They are not economists.
Exactly.
So I don't expect them to echo less, because to most people, they will consider what has happened to how many meals they can buy, how many people are dependent on them, and what is the general opinion around the economy today. So when we look at that, you notice that central bank is doing some policies to ensure that we curtail inflation or we keep inflation low. At 20% is still high. The target is to get it to single digits.
Exactly.
So if you're adjusting before you get there, well, I think it will be too high. And when we see inflation reducing above what is expected, then people may start to suspect that, are we seeing the hand of sun, hand of what do we call it? Jacob. And so you know what I mean? That the hand and the owner of the hand are not the same. The feel is that of Esau, but the smell is that of Jacob. Exactly. It's not the same.
Exactly.
So we need to allow the number to return to us, and we're able to make that happen. So for me, my advice has been sit on the fence because it's a decision. If you adjust upward or downward, there are decisions. There are 3 decisions. So a decision number 1 is increase NPR and other parameter, which will first of all mean that you want cost of lending to increase, which is a burden, honestly, to investment in the country, both private and public investment. 2, reduce rates, which means in a way you want inflation. Maybe if you are satisfied with the level, inflation may go up or may remain the same as the case may be. But the third one is to keep watching while you adjust while you watch the impact of the previous decision, which is where I think we should stay today.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Dr. Paul Alaje, for coming on the show today. And I really believe these are developing issues. We may need to call you once back so that you can help us explain more, dissect more, and put a submission to some of the issues within Nigerian macroeconomy. But thank you so much for coming on the show today, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, sir.